we're back with another episode of Real Life Movie Talk. Not just any episode. The 50th. Ooh. I don't know how many movies that is. It's on a chart somewhere. Ben probably knows.
Big 5-0.
It's a lot. A lot of reviews. A lot of consistent reviews.
Yep.
You guys held it down.
Yeah.
Hey, you're a part of it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so many, dude.
Gracias.
It is your boy Chris.
Blockbuster Ben.
John. Keep it simple. You know what I mean? Even at 50.
Ageless John.
Their review count met my hair color. So here we are.
The Ageless Wonder.
Yeah. This year, we've got, let's see, so far this year, including these two, looks like 54.
Really? That's just this year.
54 for this year.
Oh, this year.
Just for 2021.
Yeah, you guys started.
And then 31 since the big
So
show.
85.
85.
Yeah, there you go.
Once we get to 100, we're going to make our own website with the rankings of all the movies so people can just go in there and see what they want.
Who's designing this website?
John.
Got you, fam.
Hey, maybe we can get Squarespace to advertise with us, then we can do it that way. Design your own website, squarespace.com/GAC.
Rotten Tomatoes will be irrelevant in another 30 episodes. We're going to have all the movies you're ever going to need to see right on the spreadsheet.
Yep.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Our ratings are more important than theirs, honestly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
You got to throw those away.
They're gross.
Yeah. So Big 50, we're doing a double feature tonight. We'll get into beer and popcorn, obviously. We're going to do The Green Knight, then we're going to do The King, and we're going to end with a little game of Name Their Movies. So make sure you guys stick around all the way to the end. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. See what that name is. Yeah. Let's see. First up on the docket, beer and popcorn. What do we got?
No, like,
Boom.
Pow. This is the truth. And not just because it's an honest beer. It is the truth.
Very good.
IPA, by far, top 3 draft beer I've ever had.
Really?
As far as well, I mean, any beer.
oh, draft?
Yeah,
That's a
this comes from the bottle. Flying Dog local beer.
I was wondering. Okay, yeah.
But first time I had a draft, I think was at Dimitri's when Dimitri's, R.I.P. Dimitri's, when Dimitri's was still open. Before that, the only beer that rivals it, in my opinion, is Heavy Seas.
Oh, Loose Cannon.
Yeah, Loose Cannon.
Loose Cannon's a goat.
There's something about it. I mean, it's great in a bottle. There's something about it when it's draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It hits different. I think any beer, honestly, across the board, when they're draft, they just taste better. But IPAs, especially, there's something.
Line's got to be clean though.
Huh?
You get it.
That, yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I prefer bottles. Like that's my. Okay. I love I mean, I've been drinking mostly cans on here, but like that's these local brewers that do can releases, you know, whatever.
Cheaper.
Yeah. Yes, but I just something about a glass bottle. I don't know. It's just a classic to me. I love it.
Good for fight.
Like Coke or
also
Stripes.
good for bashing someone.
You get drunk, you want to fight. You don't want to.
Yeah.
You can put a ship in it.
Can you?
Put a ship in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
Or a note.
Do fancy stuff.
Yeah. I am drinking a local beer as well from Manor Hill Brewing. It's the Paper Parasols Pina Colada Sour Ale. I guess this is brand new. They just brought it back like a week ago. But when I was up picking up the popcorn, I was like, they're like right next to each other. So I was like, let me stop in and see what they got. I was looking at the list, and
What's it taste like?
I said I haven't tried it yet. I said one, and the hostess was like, have you had this? I was like, no. She's like, it's great. I was like, okay, so I took her word for it.
What is it called again?
It is called Paper Parasols Pina Colada.
Yeah, you can drink those until you can't say say the name of it. That's when you. That's the reason they made it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
you
a lot of
drink
additives.
those until you start telling the truth.
Yeah.
Then you got to cut those.
Which
Which
is like 3.
Brewed in Cannon, Ellicott City. I love their food, by the way. Manor Hill, great food. Great chicken sandwich.
I don't remember if I've been there.
Brunch is good too. Let's see.
Yeah, I feel like I have.
Did we go there for something?
Manor Hill Tavern.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Oh wait, Manor. Is that the one that used to be Diamondbacks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
I
I had the chicken sandwich.
I like that. You have had the chicken sandwich. This is good. I didn't know where I was gonna go.
I know I've been there because you told me what they get last time I went. I think you and Blackwell or somebody, me, Jen, and Rob went there for like brunch or something like that. I got the it was the first time I had avocado toast with salmon on it. Oh my god, that shit.
The coconut comes in like at the end, just slightly. It's not like
It's a skosh.
It's
You're not a beer connoisseur. You drink that shit beer.
yeah. That's the pineapple is there, but like it's not too much. Sometimes coconut I feel like can be overpowering. You know,
I think everything coconut tastes like Sunscreen.
Okay.
Oh my God, this place is amazing! Yeah. All right, and the sunblock drink? Nice, guys.
They're really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
Thing is, I didn't make you one.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Charlie, you're drinking sunblock. It's good. It gets you all. Yeah, you're ingesting viscous chemicals, and they're getting you hot. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, if you like sours, I would recommend this. I think this is really good.
Sean.
Yeah, he
Give it a shot.
does
Sean,
he?
he's a big sour.
Okay.
Like sours.
Yeah, go up. They have it on draft as well. Get you a chicken sandwich and a beer. You know.
Avocado toast.
You got an Impossible Burger. It's really good.
And we got a pizza, which was decent, but
Was it the smoke? The smoke one where it
it
comes
had
out?
too much stuff on it.
Okay.
You know, like, so that if you're making a
Did it have arugula on it?
I don't know about
Those
arugula.
people that put arugula on pizzas think too highly of themselves.
No, it was like chicken and like the picture of it and the idea and the flavors are there. Like the diced grape tomatoes with chicken. No, it was me, Robin. James.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, you were he was there in spirit.
It might have also been a Taco Bell.
Oh, inside jokes are funny.
Yeah, they're fine for us.
Yeah.
And anyone that was
I'm all screwed up now.
Yeah,
I'm all
sorry,
screwed up.
dude.
It was just too many toppings and not cooked long enough.
Got it.
It's really hard to cook
So you didn't like
a brick oven pizza. I did not. It needed.
Don't go there for the pizza.
I took it, but here's what I did. I took it home, put it in my oven on a pan, put it on broil for like 6 minutes, and it cooked the top. Problem, the bottom was perfect. It was crispy.
so it's Neapolitan style.
No, their pizzas are
Throw it
small.
in the oven
They're
for like
personal.
30 seconds.
Yeah, it just needed. It was really hard to cook. To get it to, you had to cook it. It just wasn't cooked enough.
Okay.
Long enough. And I'm a crispy person.
Yeah, and sometimes with those kind of like small pizzas and they're super thin, if there's too many toppings. I mean, you can't do nothing
Just
about
weighs
it
it down.
when you pick it
Yeah,
up,
yep.
and
That's
everything
exactly
falls
what
off.
happened.
I hate
That's
this.
what happens.
But
Yeah,
my
it
brother,
was too much
That's how
stuff.
they do it in Italy. Gross.
my brother, I think got the same. I'm sure he probably got the same one you're talking about. We went there recently. He's like, "Do you want it?" I guess he wasn't like overly impressed, but I took it home.
Yeah.
It was like 3 slices. I was like, "I want to try it, sure." I heated it up in the air fryer,
Yeah.
like reheated in the air
Good
fryer.
play.
It's perfect.
Good play.
It's perfect. I was like, "He's crazy."
Interject. I've been thinking about doing like greatest inventions of all time on the podcast.
Yeah.
An air fryer, bro.
Air fryer,
So good.
Yeah.
And it's not number one for me because electricity has to run that bitch, but
It's
It's
up
near
there.
there.
It's up there.
I'm
like,
sad. And damn,
I
everything is
recent-
good
I
at
mean,
Is
that.
electricity an invention?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's fire.
Fire.
It's like saying it's fire.
No,
an
it was
invention.
invented. That's
You harness electricity.
The means of electricity, of using electricity for power, is an invention. Yes.
I hear you, but you use fire for the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, harnessing electricity, sure, wiring and the power grids and stuff, that's all an invention, but
It's just
is the
it's just
electricity itself an invention.
Yeah, it is because
That's a
you,
podcast.
because
We'll
you
talk about that.
you are creating it. Versus,
So is fire an invention?
I'm sorry.
Is fire an invention?
The means of creating fire, yeah. I mean, if something makes a fire by accident, sure, but the ability to harness it and use it, I guess that's not maybe not fire as much as electricity
Just wondering.
because you have to
Just a fun
you have to
question.
conduct it.
okay. Popcorn. EC Pops. Obvi. Went up there today. As I said, grab this. This is the jalapeno cheddar or cheddar jalapeno, whatever it's called. And we've had this one. It's good.
That's good.
They have this. Oh, excuse me. New car sitting up. Well, it's an old car, but it's new. It's the first time I've seen it.
You can't get a new 1996 Dodge Neon.
Right. But it's sitting there. It's like looks like a Model T of some kind, and it's a truck. And the back of the truck is it looks like a big popcorn maker. So
Oh,
like you could be
dope.
driving around and it's making popcorn. It's really cool looking.
kinda cool.
Yeah. So I saw it today. I should have taken a picture, but I didn't. But yeah. So this is a great flavor. They just popped a bunch of it recently, so it just got put
As
up on.
fresh as it gets.
Like those, remember the kid lawnmowers? They had the little globe on them, and you push them in the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's
Balls
not,
pop.
yeah. That's what
Pop.
immediately came to my brain. Right.
So yeah, good flavor.
Chicken brine.
Moving on.
My brain is just gone.
Yeah, we're a little over.
I need a vacation. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. I need some time
I'm
off.
going on one tomorrow, John. Was supposed to go on.
Guess who will be here doing his bathroom? I will.
What will we be doing in his bathroom?
Pooping. I can't poop in there. The toilet's already out.
All right.
Anyway.
Oh, I saw it in the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you guys been watching recently? Besides these movies that we saw.
Ooh, I watched a documentary.
On.
It's called The Hell.
Is that what he
Stop
sounds
Val
like?
Kilmer.
Is that what he sounds like?
Yeah, he got a big hole in his throat.
Really?
Yeah, he's got to do that talk. It's really embarrassing.
Does it? I meant to ask you this
Whoa.
the other night. Does it?
Sad.
You said it's from throat cancer, right?
Yeah.
Did it say how he got it?
No.
Okay.
And
'cause
I don't think he ever smoked.
I'm trying to remember him smoking in movies, and it doesn't. I can't think of it. Did he smoke in Heat?
No. He smoked in Tombstone, but that's like the thing.
Yeah, I mean everybody.
Don't they do something to the cigarettes though? Like, I mean, I know it's still smoke, but like, aren't they like prop cigarettes?
In Tombstones, they probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
But-
he's a little older.
Yeah, so that was my favorite actor growing up. I loved him. And to see him the way he is now, like, he looks bad. But he's chronicled his life. He was the first person he's ever known with a video camera. So he chronicled his life since he was a kid. And they went through the transitions of his acting to his success, to his highs, to now to his lows. And he documented all of it, but he can't speak. So his son actually narrates the whole thing. He actually sounds a lot like him.
Wow.
So it's awesome.
I heard it was good.
Really good.
Shane, shout out to you, buddy. I know you messaged me about it, and now I've got two people singing his praises. So
I feel real bad for him. Like I said, I loved him, but he's just been through it, man.
what was his high? Like, what was the pinnacle of his career? Where did he think the pinnacle of his career?
When
Was
he
it
did, he did Batman.
I was gonna say had to be
He
Batman.
talked about how much he hated it.
Really?
That's like the first time I heard that.
Yeah, they came back and he said no, because what you don't realize is he's like an actor's actor. He went to Juilliard. He wanted
Like
to
a stage-
do yeah.
stage actor?
He started in stage, but he wanted to be like an actor's actor. But he got
Like Tom
typecast
Hanks?
as like a heartthrob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he didn't get a lot of those roles, and he's always wanted to be Batman. But when he was Batman, they don't tell you that you can't move in a suit at all. Like they hold you up in the suit. They have people help you stand, and with the ear things, you can't hear anything. So he couldn't hear what anyone was saying. It was just basically lips and a name. So he declined the second one.
So he would be
When
better at
George
that role.
Clooney got
And we got George Clooney instead.
Yep.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Oh, I
He said
missed
he
it.
would be better at that role now.
Oh damn. Damn, bro.
Where is she?
Damn. I'm gonna watch
This
it.
is why I wasn't on the show most of the time.
No, I'm gonna watch it though.
I'm
I mean, you're really like,
screwed up.
Yeah, it's nice.
yeah, that's good. John, anything? You said you watched a good movie?
I think it's called Infinite. It's got
Is it long?
It's got Mark Wahlberg still on it. It's got Mark Wahlberg in it.
That's on Paramount Plus. Okay.
He it's kind of a neat concept.
Okay.
Apparently there's like 500 people that have ever been born that it doesn't happen immediately, but at some point in their lives they remember every past life. So basically the premise of the movie is that when you die, your soul doesn't go anywhere. It just goes into a new one. When you die, you become the next baby.
Reincarnation.
But there's certain people that can remember
Oh.
their previous life, and there's a group of people. I can't remember what the two groups are called, but there's a group of them that think that the fact that you can remember is a gift, and you're supposed to potentially use it to help the world. And then there's a certain group of people that
It's a
think it's a
punishment.
curse, and they want the world to end.
Wow.
And the only real way to do that is you can't.
Spread it
I'm not gonna give it too much of a way, but you can't just kill the infinites because they'll just go to another body.
Okay.
Essentially, you literally have to double snap Thanos style, like kill everybody.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What if you just gave that version of the person amnesia?
Don't really know the answer to that. I imagine that
Solved it.
if they're infinites,
Salted.
Just figure out how to give amnesia.
not a pot.
That's good to know. I don't have.
But
Paramount-
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
that
that-
next person wouldn't have amnesia. You'd have to keep giving it to them.
Yeah, but at least they wouldn't be able to remember their last one too well.
That's true. You missed one whole life.
I saw the trailers back when it I think first came
Yeah.
out, and I just don't have Paramount Plus right now. But when I do sign up for it in the fall,
Shout out Hack Firestick. I'm
that.
telling you.
But Yellowstone comes back, season 4 in November, so that's when I'll sign up for Paramount Plus.
Almost
I
watched.
thought Yellowstone was on Peacock.
The old seasons are, but the new episodes I think are going to be exclusively on their network until
Oh shit!
until it's probably over, and then maybe you got to drive the people to your
Yeah.
app.
Yeah. I almost watched the new. Was it G.I. Joe movie that's out?
Oh, really?
that
Yeah,
out?
it's on my Fire Stick.
Right. Okay.
But I didn't watch that yet. I like to wait to see what we're gonna do before.
You can say I can safely say go ahead.
Or okay, we're not doing.
I have no real interest in it, man. I kind of lost.
I like
it.
that guy.
The main guy?
I like him in a few of his movies.
I don't know. The first couple were just kind of meh to me, so I didn't really care where this...
The Rock was okay.
Was that the second one or the first
I
one?
love The Rock.
But
He replaced Channing Tatum.
But why-
Charlie Tatum.
why did they... I never understood why they killed him off, like, beginning of the movie, right? Like, he was gone in the second movie. Like, thought he was like the
Well,
whole...
if the second one hit hard enough, they're probably going to bring it back in the third one.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious style.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never had... I mean, either way. If you guys want to do it, I'll do it, obviously. But I didn't think that was one that we were going to...
I don't know if there's enough time.
get to... Yeah. I haven't
What about
been
you?
watching anything. I started this show, comedy, called Letterkenny. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah. The
Canadian.
Canadian soccer players.
They're not soccer players. They're
Hockey
just-
players.
There's a couple hockey players, yeah, but like... That,
Dudes I work with swear by that show.
What's your problem, bud?
It's really funny. It's one of the wittiest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I think I was just in a hotel in Fairfax, kind of was like, I need something else to kind of just have.
Was there HBO Max?
in the hotel?
Yeah.
No, I was watching on my.
Do you have HBO Max on there?
I do have HBO Max.
What did we talk about?
I know the Nevers, but like I wasn't with Courtney.
Oh.
We watch it together. Yeah, yeah.
Let's don't tell her.
Oh
my god, this scene's crazy.
Yeah, but that's it. I haven't really started anything new. Aside from that, Sunny I watch on repeat.
Still haven't watched much. 2
Yeah,
episodes.
that's about it. I got nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Watch the Nevers, both of you.
yeah, we're in there, man.
And
I
you just done by
we have watched
2 weeks.
No, we have watched episode 2. So we just
Did you start with 1?
yeah.
Oh.
So we watched 2
You're
the
like a third of the
Sunday
way
before
done.
I left,
Okay.
and now like we'll pick it back
You're a
up.
third of the way.
Yeah, you were there. Fairfax was cool.
Did you meet the character I'm talking about?
We didn't really discuss it too
Well,
much.
spoiler, I haven't seen that
Yeah.
movie yet.
Okay.
Fairfax was cool. There's a lot of Korean barbecue there. Like so many. You've been there?
I work in Virginia all the time.
Okay, I was like, why are there so many Korean barbecue places here? I didn't eat at one of them, but
There's a lot of money in Fairfax.
okay,
A lot of Koreans have money.
okay. So the movie that we're reviewing, The Green
There's
Knight.
a future in Kung Fu.
What?
Just keep moving. Please just keep moving.
I saw The Green Knight while I was there at this theater, which was really cool. It was called Cinema Arts Theater. Really like it's in like a strip mall.
Right.
Really kind of like nondescript, like tucked in the corner. And
Perfect theater for a movie like this.
it kind of was like I loved it. The ticket was not overpriced. It was $12, which is standard. But I got popcorn like this size.
You know,
Drink, like a bottle of water, and bag of Twizzlers was $9.
Wow.
Which is like
I spent
It's
$9
unheard
for
of.
Twizzlers.
for a bag of Twizzlers. Oh man, it's crazy.
I got a pretzel last night.
Yeah.
Pretzel and a drink, it was $20.
That's what I'm saying, man.
talk
I
about
couldn't
that
believe
pretzel.
when he rung me up, I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, it's awesome."
Did you get everything?
Excited? Yeah, well, because he works there. He's like, "Man, everything here is so cheap." I was like, "That's great." You know, it was humid as shit because it was raining a lot,
Right.
so the theater was a little like musty. It has like an old theater, kind of you might expect.
Furious 9.
Kind of, yeah. But it didn't matter. I was kind of like, I was into the movie, so it was like I noticed it, but I wasn't like
Kind of put you into the movie, kind of.
a little bit. Yeah, I felt like I was on the quest. So with that being said, if you're in Fairfax, check out Cinema Arts Theater, and we can just jump right into this The Green Knight review, which is, I mean, I guess it's safe to call it brand new, right? I mean, it didn't come out this past week, but it came out recently. So rated R, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Directed and written by a man named David Lowery.
Well, they
That's
don't know
Mike's
who
brother.
wrote it, right?
No,
The story.
the screenplay.
Oh.
I think that's Mike's brother.
Probably. Yep, probably. Except this guy's
Sing,
white. This guy's
bonus
white.
sings.
This guy's white, so I don't know.
He got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did the live action remake of Pete's Dragon, the Disney movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pete's Dragon.
I saw it. Actually, it's on my. I saw it the other day on my Fire Stick.
Yeah. I loved the old animated one when
Yeah.
I was a kid. I haven't seen this version, but yes, you're right.
I didn't
though.
watch it, but I did see it. I've seen it.
Yeah, I saw the cover.
I
Yeah.
ain't watching it.
Yeah. It is based on a late 14th century poem. That's where this story comes from.
Ah.
So that's what Chris was saying there. So,
The chapters. Makes
and
sense.
they don't know who wrote it. If you notice at the beginning of the
not
movie, it says it says based on
Unknown.
something
Couldn't
by
read most of those
Anonymous.
words.
Yeah, the letters. The opening credits have the old English letters, so it was hard to read some of the words. But it's basically a retelling of this poem about Sir Gawain. Well, the poem's called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and this is just kind of like a fantasy reimagining of that story. Huh. And we have a guest in the basement.
It's one of the vacationers.
Well, yeah. So yeah, retelling of the poem, and I had never even heard of this story. So that was it's all new to me. Sir Gawain is the nephew to King Arthur, who most people I would assume would know of King Arthur and like the Knights of Camelot.
Was I supposed to know that was King Arthur?
I think it was kind of assumed.
Well,
Like
the only reason I thought that it might be King Arthur is
he
because
gave
of
the sword?
Gawain and the way that he received the sword and the way everybody looked at him when he gave it to him.
Yeah, when he pulled it out, the whole room went bright.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, that's got to be Excalibur.
It
It's
is.
just the way that he looked at the sword.
Mhm. Yeah, and
there's no telltale signs. I mean, the knight Gawain is from one of the Knights of the Round Table from the old stories, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's that. You know, it's it was a round table. It didn't like complete. It was in the shape of like a C. But I didn't know ahead of time either. But I was like, that's got to be King Arthur. Like I feel like, and then his wife was Guinevere, I think was her name.
Yep.
So yeah, he was the heir to the throne because King Arthur didn't have any sons, and the whole movie is just kind of. It's not King Arthur's just kind of like a side.
Right.
No, it really didn't have much to do with the movie other than the beginning
Right.
and the end. You know, it's more about Sir Gawain and his journey.
Quest.
Yeah, quest. Exactly. But it stars Dev Patel. He plays Sir Gawain, which I thought was really cool, from Slumdog Millionaire and Lion. Alicia Vikander is in it. Joel Edgerton is in it, who I really like. And Sean Harris plays King Arthur. Who is in both of the movies we're reviewing tonight.
Yes.
It's funny.
Yeah,
Joel Edgerton is in both of them.
Joel, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of like non-intentional. It was really kind
not
of
the
just
same director, not the same producing,
Yeah.
whatever.
It was kind of funny. So, what did you guys think of the movie?
I absolutely hated it. Nothing about it at all.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Huh, you too?
Yes.
You guys both hated it.
Yes. We've been toying with you.
Yeah.
Low key, we said last night that we were going to act like we really liked the movie.
Wow.
Most of the before we started, we talked this shit up just a little bit, like we loved it.
We want
But
to talk about how funny it was.
I'm not even going to lie, and this is the first. It has been a long time.
Uh-huh.
But if I watched this at home,
Uh-huh.
I never would have finished it. And if he wasn't with me yesterday, we weren't doing this for the review.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have stayed there.
Wow.
There was just very few moments
Uh-huh.
where there was any of it made sense.
Right. There's so many things in the movie
that
didn't need to be in the movie.
The only part of the movie that made lineal sense
Uh-huh.
was when he went through the field of dead people and the kid was there.
That's the only good part.
That's
of
the
movie.
only part
In my opinion.
that's worth watching. The
Pretty
rest
funny.
of the movie,
That part is pretty funny.
the rest of the movie, I was like,
You know what's so funny is when I finished it, I was like, they're gonna hate this. But then when you guys commented on Facebook today and you said something about it's got the one guy in
Set
it,
up.
so it's gonna have to be good, and I was like, oh, maybe
Total setup.
maybe that's fucked up,
long-
man. Damn.
Total. I texted him afterwards.
Okay, well, that's a shame, man, because I really like this movie, and when I left the theater, like.
You weren't lost.
I was, but it had not lost, but it made me want to learn more, like about the history of this, and like it was. I was like I left and I was like, man, I really feel like I like this, and I just need to know why I like this.
That's what I hate about it.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that perspective.
That's what I hate about it, though,
What?
specifically. It makes audience think that they're supposed to like
Right,
it,
that's
and that makes them
that's
feel
what you said.
deeper.
You're like, people are going to say
Like
that.
people
It was
left the
such a
audience
deep
like,
movie.
it
But-
reminded me of, I'm thinking of ending things.
Right.
Where it's like, there's no real structure to the story, and then people that say they like it are just pretending that they have the artistic value to appreciate it.
And
not this movie per se, but it had a lot of those situations in it where it didn't even tie back to real life events, like meaningful things. It was just random nothingness.
But this is like a myth. It's not. They don't even know about. Like King Arthur is a legend.
Sure.
Like there's no actual real history about these guys.
This literally was
so is Batman, but that
every
movie's fine,
chapter
man.
was
That's-
random story, and in each random story, there was another little subsection that didn't make any sense.
Or contribute to the story in the whole.
I have to get into it a little bit because like I want to be able to back what I'm
Well, all
saying.
right, yeah. So they hated it. I liked it, and we're gonna jump into spoilers now, so we can just dive through this and kind of start really dissecting and talking about some things because that's up front. What else do you need to know? I guess.
It was super strange. It was very weird, like eat mushrooms and watch it maybe or something. I can't explain it any other way. It's just it was so hard to follow. The chapters, like they didn't make sense to what was happening. The ending didn't make any sense. Like the one scene specifically that there's two things. There's a bunch of shit.
Okay.
But the scene when they're talking about the color green. Why is the night green? He's talking to the girl. She interrupts the conversation that he's having with the random guy who owns the castle in the middle of nowhere who wants to hunt and actually ends up making out with him. That guy. She is trying to talk to him.
The Lord.
Yeah,
He's credited as
which
the
is
Lord.
even
That's Joel
already
Edgerton's
weird
character.
that they're there and know him and they're waiting for him. They were sent. It's the whole shit is weird. But she's sitting there talking to him. I got owed to talking to him about the color green. And she's talking about how great it is and how bad it is, and it's in
Good
the style.
dialogue.
And
By the way, I really enjoyed
her description of the green of like the yin and yang of the color green was very interesting. And then randomly they just cut to her standing in the middle of the daytime underneath of the stone structure, just standing there. She just like walks in front of it and then just stops. Nothing, doesn't say a word, and then cuts right back to her
the
talking
conversation,
again.
yeah.
For what? For what reason? They don't explain it.
No.
Wait, but let's stay in that area. The mom has her fucking eyes covered
I love that.
for no reason. They don't explain any of it.
She could have been blind.
She comes in and you think it's going to be this whole thing, and she just goes and touches his face and goes, and then walks out. Nothing is explained.
So
I thought that was his mom.
That because his mom is a witch, right? So his
I
mom.
think you
and
find
she
out who
covered her
she
eyes
is.
too.
I think you find out who she is. Anyway.
But she covers her eyes in the beginning. I
Yes.
felt like that's how she stayed visible.
And was watching over him. That's
That's
kind of
right.
and so again, this is one of those things where like at the time the only connection I could make was that his mother did that at the beginning and this lady's doing that, right? I was like, it's got to have something to do with that. And then based on some of the things I saw, it's like one theory is that was her embodied in that character, watching over him on his quest.
But
We skipped so much though. Like we're like way towards the end here.
I'm just talking about just awkwardness,
Yeah.
unknowns, unexplained.
Well, that's
just very strange parts of the movie. I mean, the movie is just strange.
There's some redeeming qualities.
I mean, that's what a quest is, though. Like a quest isn't going to be.
But
like,
it isn't. None of it. I mean, a quest has a beginning, middle, and an end.
Which this had.
No, it does not have an ending. How the fuck is there an ending? What is the end?
The end.
What is the end?
The end is when he. Are we gonna just? I mean, we're skipping so much shit. We're just jumping right to the end of the movie.
Let's
We're jumping to the end of the movie, and I got like.
No, we'll go with you first, and then I'll go last. I'll be the end. Sorry.
No, I just like, dude, you meet this guy who he's a knight already, right? But he doesn't feel like worthy of his knighthood, right? That line at the beginning of the movie, which is like the one that I was gonna like, that's the one I had, is that when the Green Knight shows up, which his mother summons, right? That's how. I mean, did you guys see that? Like, to me, that's her son is like a. It's like a play, like I don't want to say playboy, but he's like he just kind of like
Doesn't have any direction in life.
Yeah, the night before Christmas, he spends the night in a brothel.
He has no stories to tell.
That's the line. It's like his uncle, King Arthur, when he comes to this meeting, his uncle's like, "Hey, so and so's not here. Come sit with me." And he says to him all these things about how he's ashamed that he's never asked him to sit with him and talk to him and this and that. And he's like, "Tell me a story about yourself. I don't know you." And he's like, I don't have any stories about myself. And I was like, "Damn, like you're supposed to be a knight," but he's kind of like a knight grandfathered in. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't earn it.
Well, yeah, he's royalty.
Yeah, and so that's the
and the king does say that.
Yeah, and so his mother is you get to me. It was clear as day right off the break that she's kind of disappointed with who he's becoming as a man. So then she summons the Green Knight with her witchcraft and 2 other people or whatever, and he shows up with this letter, and he asks for a challenger, and the whole thing is like, hey, you can strike me however you'd like, and then you have to meet me out in the woods, and I get to strike you the same way.
Okay, I'm with you. What about when he comes in there and puts the branch up in the air, right? And then the king looks over at the one knight, and the knight's like, just shakes his head like that.
Okay.
And then he puts the sword down and invites him up. What was that?
Invites who up?
The Green Knight comes in.
Yeah.
Right? He's sitting on a horse, got the branch over his head, right
Okay.
there, which is whatever the hell it is.
You're talking about his axe?
No,
right?
it was a branch.
Oh, okay.
Which
And everyone draws their sword.
Everybody draws their swords.
Uh-huh.
The king looks at this random knight on the right hand side who's kind of turns red like he's a seer or something.
Okay.
And he goes.
That was the wizard. That was Merlin. With the tattoos under his eyes?
And sure. And he went like this, and Merlin goes, and he shook his head no.
Like,
and
you guys aren't
then the king
Right.
invited him up
Yeah.
to talk to him.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of that?
Because I think Merlin was like,
Merlin-
yeah, you're not going to beat this dude.
One, I think he knows you're not going to beat him, and 2, I think he was maybe in on the. He had to have known or had some kind of foresight to see what was going to happen. So because
I wish I knew that was King Arthur. And I wish I knew that was Merlin. That might have helped a tiny bit.
I didn't know it until after.
I didn't know that was Merlin.
I didn't know.
That would have made more sense to me. I thought he was a knight.
No, yeah.
It takes
So,
away from the movie.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
It's
assuming.
just like it's a lot of fill the gap yourself, fill the void.
Could have been
make
great.
a story
Potential's there.
Yeah. They got rid of the tall people.
Yeah. So nobody challenges the Green Knight except.
Well, if what you're saying is true, then
Yeah.
none of them were supposed to, except for the son,
Right.
because he has no story, and the whole purpose of this, and the
Yes.
whole reason he was brought up there,
Yeah.
was for him to take Excalibur and fight the knight, but also maybe to test his integrity by seeing how he struck him.
Yes, and that's to me that's the start of the journey right there. When he
Chose
chops
the
his head
punch,
off.
chose
Like
the
so
punch.
so yeah. So we're there.
Yeah.
So the Green Knight, he walks up to Gawain with Excalibur. He sits his axe down and he's like, here, leans his neck out,
Yeah.
and that's the start right there because Gawain chops his head off,
Yeah.
and that's like the first of all the mistakes that he makes along the journey, and it just dude, I don't know, man. I don't even know where I'm gonna go now because I was fully expecting to have I was waiting for you guys to have I thought we were gonna all agree on this, and I was totally thrown off.
Well, I will say that if nothing has really changed for me, even
Yeah.
if I know all that at the beginning, just because I still don't think that it's hard to follow, especially if you don't know that's the story
Right.
of
I
Gawain
really
and
wish I knew the story
Excalibur and
first.
King Arthur. And if you don't know that poem, this is really, really, really hard to follow because there are some parts in the movie that literally do not need to be there. And if they have something to do with the story, sure, they make sense. I'm not trying to keep jumping forward, but the tall people, the girl that's in a house, there's a lot of stuff we don't have to get to it yet, but those are really, really hard. What's the purpose of all this?
Yeah, so again, I didn't know the poem ahead of time, right? I had a feeling. I mean, it was written in the 14th century. You know what I mean? It's not by today's standards.
Shakespeare was alive a long time ago.
I don't read his stuff either. But so each thing that he encountered along the quest, this is something that I learned after the fact. Mm-hmm. So knights are supposed to live by 5 virtues. That's why they wear those.
Yeah.
That's why they wear those
5
stars.
Yep.
Or the
Talk about that
stars
in the movie,
with the points. I think
When they're
they
praying in the beginning,
Yeah.
they name their virtues.
Yeah, it's
Courage.
friendship, generosity, chastity, courtesy, and piety. Those are the 5 things. So
Pie eating?
piety, Piety. Yeah.
Sex.
No sex, and you gotta eat a lot of pie.
Yeah. So
So she takes your bow.
everything along the way was him being tested. I think some of it.
Oh.
Yeah, see, even that would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about chastity.
So that's yeah. So this is again. This
You're
is
no knight.
So I knew. So again, I was able the first one was the field. right? To me, the first test was cutting his head off, right? Like that's to me, it was like, damn, that's the first mistake you make right there. Like he's offering his neck up to you. What are you doing? Right. This is how messed up you are that you feel like you got to cut his head off.
To prove yourself.
Right, to prove yourself. He told you he's going to cut your head off if you do this.
Well, he said he might. And not only on top of that, he was warned by the king that it was only a game. So he basically
fair.
You were going to get what you give.
I mean, yeah. A tree. I would have just beat him like we do, live it. You know what I mean? Get him the long time.
Yeah.
Climate change. We'll get you.
Gas on the ground.
So yeah, the first real test I think along the way was the kid. You know, he shows up to this battlefield and this kid's like begging he's looting all these bodies, and he asks for directions, and that's like he wasn't going to give him anything, and that goes to the generosity. Like he ends up giving him one measly coin, which in then turn, like, it comes back on him.
One wasn't enough.
Yeah, one wasn't enough. And as I'm sitting there watching this happen, I was like, damn. But I feel like also I've played enough video games and I've seen enough movies that, like, I feel like there's a part in every, like, quote unquote hero's quest where he loses everything and then has to still fight his way there and gain things back like along the way. So he loses shit early.
Yeah.
And then everything else from that moment on, like, is just more tests.
It's making more sense to me.
More tests, like
it is, but it doesn't change the fact that you had to look that up to know that.
But
that's why I shouldn't do that.
Not always. Sometimes I enjoy it though. Like I really like. I learned a lot today reading about not only this stuff, but like the king too. I looked at a lot of like history of like the 13th, 14th, 15th century. I was trying to figure out like lineages and things like that. But I just really enjoyed that, man. And like sometimes when the connection is like when it doesn't hit right away, and then I look to see what's
interest.
Up. It creates interest, and then I'm like when I realize it, I'm like, whoa, that's kind of genius. Like even just again to the virtues, right? The next thing, he shows up to that house that's empty. He just goes to sleep in someone's bed without that's the courteous part of it. Like, who do you just show up to somebody's house and get in the bed? And then even when he gets woken up and the girl, the ghost, is
that's the courteous part?
Well, one, he just goes to sleep in the bed without asking. And then two...
That's like anti-courteous.
To be fair about that,
what I'm saying, meaning he was not courteous.
He's that part I don't know that
I feel like he only failed one test.
The more discourteous thing to me is that when she's like, hey, my head's in the bottom of this, I can't get to it. Can you help me? He's like, what are you going to do for me? And it's like, well, damn, you should have just do it because it's the right thing to do. She's asked you to get a freaking head. Wow. It's a ghost.
I'm starving. I got nothing.
Yeah.
You got a house there and you're a ghost. Help a brother out. You need your head. You got something I can have. That's
so you got anything on these mushrooms I ate earlier?
But you got to think that, like, if you're going to give somebody, like, in this scenario, it's as ridiculous as it sounds that we're sitting here talking about. If somebody's like, hey, my head is down there. Can you get it? You got to think that, like, you bring it to them, they're probably going to do something for you. Even if they don't, like, you did it because it's the right thing to do. So now this spirit can be at peace or whatever.
Now she can see who did it, is what you said.
And moving forward, what else? With the fox, that was the one for friendship, like, initially.
So I thought the fox was his name.
No, so, like, I played this other video game called Ghost of Tsushima, and it's a samurai. You play as a samurai, and foxes are a big part of that game, and they're like spirit guides almost. So that part to me just kind of clicked. I figured, like, I thought that's the purpose of the fox. Now, again, I didn't know what the virtues were going in, but, like, he ultimately, like, ends up just disintegrating his friendship with the fox because the fox challenges him and tries to save him, and he's like, get out of here.
So I thought that was a test to prove, like, his bravery. But the fox was sitting there trying to say, look, don't go. And by him going, he was honorable. Because he said he was going to go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the ones that he passed, which is, again, I don't think it was a clear ending, but I thought that is what was going to get him.
It technically was the right thing to do to keep going. To be the honorable man, that's what you got to do. But again, I guess the way it was handled, that's what. Oh, again, this is
confusing as hell.
Yeah.
Do you know who's going to love these movies? This movie?
Do I know who's
critics are going to love this movie?
That's not necessarily true, man. I mean, the user rating of like normal people, it's in the 7s. So like, it's not just critics that are like loving this movie.
Are critics loving it?
The Rotten Tomatoes is 87%. So yeah, it seems like
critics?
it. Right. So this is the critic score, the 87%. But the average user rating, meaning guys like us, is 7.3. So that's still
Too high.
Too high. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I tell you, the other one, the chastity test, he clearly failed that. Yeah.
That was blatant.
Yeah, that was like.
And she blasts him immediately.
Yep. And you know what's fucked up though? For me,
She raped him.
I felt like
She did.
Yeah.
He said no 3 times.
he was trying to do.
If he would have hit her, if he would have been like, woman abuser.
He was trying to do.
Not a night if you hit it.
I thought he was trying to do the right thing the whole time.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I felt he was trying to do the right thing the whole time, but he just kept like he was weak a little bit. Like he was trying to, but he was also just like any flawed person.
Yeah.
Like nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
And he was the most flawed.
Yeah. And what was the other one I said? Oh, piety. I think that has to do with religion.
I can't not hear piety.
Yeah.
I can't not hear.
So anyway, he gets to the end. He ultimately shows up where he's supposed to be. And that's what I wanted to ask you guys. I mean, I thought you were going to have more. So the end, they leave the end up for interpretation. And that was one of the things that I kind of liked about it, because it when I left, I was like, I wonder, how did this actually go? So you get to the point where he meets the Green Knight, right? And he's scared. And the Green Knight's like, all right, you remember how you...
be?
Yeah, because he's like, he cut his head off, and the Green Knight is like, do you remember how you struck me? And he's like, yeah. So he goes to cut his head off a couple of times. He flinches, and so then he runs away, which, from what I've learned, is so the poem ends like that. He runs away, he lives, but he's branded a coward, and that's his reign goes.
How does he know? How do they know?
What?
Because he should have never.
Because he's
made it
alive.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game was you got to go die.
Yeah, they saw him cut his head off.
Not necessarily. The game was go and you get what you give.
Yeah, exactly.
But still the same.
Yeah, and the Green Knight could have shown mercy. You don't know, but that again, this is just a poem.
Well, he could not have, because he literally said this doesn't have to go this way, and he said, what other way could it go?
Well, that's true. So
I like that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
He literally gave him no ultimatum.
Yeah.
He's like, do you remember what you did to me? Did I flinch?
Yeah.
Did I look nervous when you were going to cut?
It was good dialogue.
Yeah. There are some good parts. I just wished it. And again, I didn't know all this stuff before it started. So knowing this now,
that matters, man.
But
In making a movie, you have to portray these the virtuous things.
I think you're right. I think if they put that out there more, the fact, not necessarily the fact that he's going to be tested in all these things, but at least that these are the virtues, and there's potential for, the mom could have said that there's potential for you to encounter where you're going to be challenged for your chastity. Just something. It could have been a 1-line, 2-line scenario like that where it would make some of these scenes make sense.
I agree.
But again, there's still scenes to me that don't make sense. I still don't understand the tall people.
I don't like the way the movie was shot in general. I thought it was too dark.
I
It was
love
like,
this.
it was
So
like,
dark.
It was like indie festival.
Yeah. Very, very. Most of the scenes I was like, reminds me of the rose skin on Warzone.
I love the scenery, man. I thought
The scenery was
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying the scenery, but other than a couple of
very
the
dark.
major backdrops where you can see it's either super foggy or nighttime.
That could
You
have
don't
been,
see a lot.
That could have been trying to get it to look as real as it might. Back then, you're not going to have all kinds of spotlights and things to brighten up everything.
I mean, I don't
It's
disagree
just
with
tough
that.
to make it look as real as you want when you're chopping trees' heads off.
But again, it's a mythical quest. You know what I
So
mean?
why
You
you
gotta
trying to make it
find
look as
some
real
talks
as you can? You know what I mean?
Chris, I mean, you're really splitting hairs here, man. We're talking about a movie, okay? So, but you're trying to make this movie look like it would look if you were there.
Like if these fake things were real.
If you're there living in that, that's what it's supposed to.
I think that they should have done a better job of lighting throughout the whole movie.
But it wouldn't be lit up like that back then. I'm saying, that's what.
Back when they were talking phosphorus,
I understand what
it
you're
was dark.
saying. I understand what you're saying.
There was no street lights.
But from my own perspective, I would like to have seen at least as much as the person in the movie could have seen.
So what could you not see? Because I don't feel like I missed anything. I was able to pick up everything that was on screen.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking. So what did you not see that you wanted
Like
to see?
the beginning, even the beginning, like when they're in the castle. And
When
the
he
Green
walked-
Knight comes,
when
it's
the-
super dark.
In that brothel?
Yeah.
When the Green Knight was
What's
walking down the hallway in the beginning, I
It's
couldn't see
so
what the hell was
dark.
happening.
It's so dark right there.
Well, you didn't know it wasn't a sword. It was a branch they lifted.
Right, but then he comes into the light, and
You
you're like,
barely see him, and you still barely see him. The reason you really see him is because of his eyes. You don't get a full glimpse of him.
once he steps into the middle of the circle?
Sorta. It's still dark as hell in there. Everybody around it's dark. Like, they don't utilize, I agree with that. They don't utilize some of the opportunities of the filming to show the surrounding. And even if they're trying to do that on purpose to isolate like the character in the center of that, like they don't do that either. It's not like spotlighted enough for me. I agree. It was the scenes that were bright, very vibrant. Like, a couple of
the scenery was
like
awesome.
the mountain ranges.
Wherever
The
they
one time
shot
where he
it,
fell
it
down the
was
side of the
really
hill,
dope.
like that background looked awesome.
That was my favorite scene. When he was walking and he
Yeah.
fell,
Yeah.
I was like, that just looked good.
Yeah, it looked like he fell for real.
Yeah, that looked good. And a lot of that was real. They used real backdrops. Like, there were some digital effects applied, but like that was all real backdrops in like Ireland.
Yeah, and the Green
Damn
Knight looked like
France.
it was all masks and
It did look- yeah,
prosthetics.
it looked pretty good.
Not CGI.
The Green Knight is real.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
not,
It was a
not
real treat.
Thanos.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
It was Groot's dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably is like great granddad.
I really wanted that to be King Arthur's son. I wanted. Watch it.
that's
coming
not-
up.
that
I
was
wanted
good.
to be. I said it earlier on. I wanted that to be King Arthur's son so bad.
The Green Knight?
Yeah, and as soon as the movie started, as much as it didn't make sense to me, and I thought we were going to get into something, but when he brought him up, this is the director's thing.
Well, dude, we're kind of like we've kind of gone all over
This
the
one
place
was
here.
really hard for me to try to be.
Yeah, it's fine.
In order,
It's
but,
totally
like,
fine.
When he came up there and he invited him up, and he said, like, he went out of his way to say that his son wasn't there and he wasn't sure when he was going to be back, and he kind of like looked over at his wife or whatever, like, oh, there's a reason they mentioned that. There's a reason that he said that right there. I feel like, and then the Green Knight comes in, and then the wizard Merlin gives him like the head nod, because I thought he gave him. This is how my brain was processing it. He gave him the head nod not to kill him because it was his son, and that the whole game was created to have them switch places and bring his boy back. That was where my head was.
like
with
a
all
little deception.
Yeah. That was where my head was with the whole thing. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be dope, and then it just didn't get there.
I just thought it was like after I've had all this time to process and think about it.
But
like,
what did you think while you watched the movie? I didn't do any of this research you did afterwards.
I was just kind of like
What the hell is
just
going on?
taking it in and like
Uh-huh.
what's going on, trying to figure it out in my head.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to have to do that.
I mean, and that's fair. I enjoyed it, and I was able
And
to.
I appreciate your perspective. I'm just saying, I did not want to have to figure it out.
Yeah,
that way.
I don't know if I ever watched a trailer for this. It wasn't what I
No,
expected.
I watched the trailer.
So
I thought it looked
the
good.
trailer looked awesome.
Yeah, so I expected way more violence. Like I thought, it was different, and when it just took me by surprise. And now I just think it was this giant plan concocted by his mother to try to make him become who he was supposed to be.
What were the big people?
That's one thing. They don't explain that. But the only thing I can think is that, like, because remember he asked one of the giants, "Can I get a lift?"
Yeah.
Which would have been the easy way. I think that was just another. And the fox, I believe, is what.
Fox says no.
Yeah. So like turns him away, and I just think that was just another test. Like, any quest you're getting tested constantly, and that's, I just think after doing all this stuff and learning about it is my understanding now of the movie is.
Go see it. Build your own
I
perspective.
do want to hear what people think.
Yeah, me too. Be very curious.
So the end is left up to interpretation because it gives you this. He runs away, and it goes through but then all the audio cuts out. So part of me was like, "Is this actually happening?"
I was gonna say, you usually hate that.
I do, but see, for here, to me, it made sense because they say before you die, your life flashes before your eyes, and normally that's kind
The
of
stuff that happened,
what you've already
not what's
lived.
gonna
No,
happen.
what you've already lived, but that also what happened in that vision was what happened in the poem, right? So it kind of again, that's just what I learned. But then it cuts back, and he's there, and he has finally built up the courage to he's like, all right, I'm going to die a hero, basically, or not a hero, but with honor, and then so the Green Knight commends him, right?
The only reason he does that is because he lived the entire life and found out that he was going to be dishonored. It wasn't like he chose to do that because he knew it would be the honorable thing. He lived an entire life as a piece of shit.
I don't think he actually lived that. I think it was
And through his brain went through the whole entire life.
Yeah.
From then until through having a kid, taking it, son dying, blah, 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 the whole thing. He lived the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And he snaps back in, takes his belt off, and goes, okay, now I can go. So it wasn't like he decided before he got to see all that. It's like if you got to see your entire life and found out that you died of some disastrous thing and fucked a bunch of people. What? What?
You're about to slap me in the face.
Sorry. And then you were like, you know what? It's like seeing the outcome of a decision, a terrible decision that you make, and then going, nah, I'm not going to make that decision. And people will be like, oh, that's honorable. It's not honorable because you weren't going to do it unless you already knew the outcome. That's not honorable.
Well, I think...
What if the story went and he ended up doing great? Do you think it snaps back to him going, go ahead, cut my head off?
No, I don't know. I think... What if you use that to do good, though? What I'm saying is like... So he sees this. What could happen if he chooses to run away? So he's like, well, I don't want to live like that, so I'm going to die.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. But so then what... So the way I interpret the end, right? When you hear the Green Knight say...
Off with his head?
Off with his head... It didn't sound as serious to me as the rest of his tone. Like, and I did have that thought when I was sitting in the theater. I was like, the way he said it, he was like, well then, off with your head. It was kind of, it wasn't laughing.
Same tone that he said, well, what other option are there? What else are we supposed to do?
To me, it sounded a little different. And either way, so I choose to think that he lets him live. And that the post-credit scene, did you guys stick around to see?
Which I thought was a ploy. I thought we thought that was a bad joke. This is the whole reason. This is half the reason that we did this.
That after credit scene was. We were the only people
watch
in
it.
the theater.
Just watch. No, there was one other guy at the very front. He must have got your
it
text.
was like a half a second. I went.
But that could be.
He got us.
I wasn't fucking with you.
That's when we decided to toy with you.
No, I wasn't messing with you. I almost didn't tell you. I was just gonna like let it be. And say, hey, did you guys stick around to see the end?
I wish you would have.
But it's a little girl sitting on the ground, and a crown is there. Yeah. And I just thought...
Just like the one that rolled off his head when he gets his head cut off. When his head falls off. It's the same crown.
Right.
On the ground after his head falls off when he does the dishonorable thing.
Yeah, so that's... to me, that was like, well, maybe he lived. And his daughter is playing with his crown or something like that. That's the way I see it. I think just think about what the guy said.
You're filling the voids
in my head. Yeah, that's what the same way like The Sopranos ends. That's kind of up to however you want. So
sometimes an ambiguous ending's okay.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's fine for the whole movie. I mean, the whole tone of the movie was figure it out for yourself. So
yeah, and again, I think about what King Arthur said, and it's a game, and that his mother really conjured this thing to have him killed. Like that's just kind of where
she didn't conjure it to have him killed. And again,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm with you on that. She conjured it to check basically to check his character.
Because she also gave him a belt to kill.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what he takes off at the very end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's like the last test, like of bravery, and that's why I choose to think that he lived. So.
Okay.
I took the messaging as if you're still here watching this movie, go cut your head off.
Oof, okay.
And hopefully you have a kid to pick up your crown.
All right.
Excellent. Can we go to lines? Because I feel like we did our favorite. And
we want to do. We can say some good things about it. Sure, right? There's still good things. What was your favorite line?
It's in the favorite scene. But when he's coming through the field, there's probably two things. But when he's coming through the field, and the kid asks him what direction he's headed, he's like, "I'm headed north." And he said, "North. Yeah, that's a direction."
You said, where is he headed?
Oh, that's right. North. Yeah, that's a direction. I love that part. I love that interaction with those two right
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole movie for me.
Is your line from that?
That scene too, yeah, the same one.
Yeah.
Those are my two favorites.
He says, wow, nice weapon. You ever use that? He said, here and there. He looked at him and went, here? He goes, well, I guess there.
But
talk about it. He's in a field. The kid is in a field full of dead people, including two of his brothers.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out if this knight used a sword in a field that potentially could have killed his brothers that he can't seem to find. So that scene is funny, and that kid is hilarious.
Yeah.
In that part, in that exact part, I was like, my brain again is twisted. Like, okay, it's about to start getting decent.
Right there, at the end of that scene,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, here we go. The movie's about to start.
To go back to some more weird shit. You remember when he first leaves?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just some part of the movie that they just don't need. When he's leaving and they just see him trotting up the trail and the kids are following him,
That is
saying
a
whatever.
long scene.
It's like 3 minutes long. It's just him trotting up the trail.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look and talk to the kids. They're yelling. Then they just stop. Then these sheep go around him. And I was like, oh shit, the sheep from the other A24 movie. and he keeps going, doesn't say anything, nothing. And then it goes to night and he's sleeping. And then it's like, there's just so many scenes where you're like, why is this in this movie? Why are you just trying to extend it?
It's just the beginning of the journey, I think, man. Like where it's still easy. You know, it's like
It's like, but again, like you're saying with the critics, like, it's like you want people to be like, oh, this is so deep. Look how lonely he is. Like, come on, man. God, stop trying to make it. Stop trying to make it a movie. It's terrible. It was terrible. But go see it and
You
form
probably
your own
don't think
opinion.
that. You said got a 7 out of 10. We may be in the minority here.
Yeah. I already think I said my line was that he had no stories to tell. It just kind of, to me, was like, he wants to be great and he hasn't done anything. He's just living his life in like squalor, you know, like just kind of wasting away. And I think he knows he's destined for good things, but he hasn't done it yet, you know. So I don't know. I just like that line a lot.
The conversation that she has about the color green was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I will
actress
say
a
that.
lot.
I can't remember all of that.
I like that you defend it so much, like your position on it.
Well, your perspective is different than mine.
And you make a lot of sense with why you like it. So
I
it's good to
didn't.
hear.
I didn't know I was gonna have to come in and defend it like this. I really
Well,
thought you
you're
guys
not-
liked it.
you're
I
not-
like.
It's not that. I don't think that positions in
It's an
a
opinion.
movie is not defending.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have to defend why I think it's bad, and you shouldn't
That's
have to
fair.
defend why you think it's good.
That's a fair
I'm just telling you what I think
Well,
about
just
something.
explain it.
Right.
Don't-
Right.
You're not
So-
wrong.
Right. Yeah, I can't say that you're wrong.
Right.
You know, I'm colorblind. You can't tell me the green is the green. You know what I mean? The way I see it is the way I see it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point to defend it.
But
I'm
you are wrong.
not right. I'm not mad at you, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I think it's interesting. I've said it before. As serial killers, I think it's crazy the way that they've rationalized decisions that they make. I think it's neat. I do actually love serial killers. It's crazy. Great. I love them.
Courtney, I called her when I left. She said, "How was the movie?" And I was like, "Exact quote." So I haven't decided yet.
Right.
But it's like
I can agree with that part to an extent.
It's just one that I wanted and I needed more, but I wanted more.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And I think that where my head was is I did not want more when because the preview was decent.
yeah,
And I really thought, especially because of we got a whole nother movie, but
yeah,
sorry.
No, it's fine.
Because the other movie I thought was much better than this one.
yeah. Was that a fucking? Were you messing with me text too when you were like,
No,
okay.
no,
Okay.
not at all, not at
Okay.
all.
So let's just score it then, and we can move on. Because we have talked about this for a while.
Yeah, sorry. We can actually do that next one.
Yeah.
3-8.
Mine's worse.
Jeez.
I probably would have finished it because it pissed me off to where I wanted to know what was happening.
3-1.
Oh, you would have finished it, you think?
No,
Then you would be low. Well, but technically you did finish it. So
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
That's fine. I think 3-1 is what I gave. I'm thinking of ending things because it was like the lowest I could give it for that criteria.
See, I think I was in the ones.
I won't go. I
You
won't go.
were,
I won't go a whole score. I won't go to 3-0 because I'm not a rookie. But
Yeah. I'm gonna give this. I really liked it. I really did, and I would recommend people see it, especially if you're into, like lore like that, mythical quests, things like that. It's not action packed, but I really liked it, and maybe a lot of the stuff that I've said maybe has swayed you. I don't know. Maybe knowing more, you might understand more as it's going
understand
along.
the poem.
no doubt. Yes.
You know, I don't even necessarily think you need to understand the poem. You just need to know who the characters are and what's happening. Like, what's happening in the
Well,
movie.
you'd only know that if you knew the poem.
What do you mean? Not necessarily. If you know, like, if you know it's King Arthur, or if you know it's his
No.
nephew,
Right.
that's Merlin. You know his the whole thing. One of the I could keep going.
But
I learned a bunch of stuff
right,
about
knowing
this.
the poem, you would know where some of these chapters make sense.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't even know
it's
where
based
it is.
on a poem that created the character.
I think there's like one copy of the poem left. I don't know where you would even get it to read.
So
it.
whatever, just understand the story before you.
Yeah.
read it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the 7.8. Yeah. Yeah, 7.8. Yeah.
And again,
I'm happy for you.
I don't think that's a
I
wrong
left
score.
the movie last night and I was like, fuck, I wish this was better. But
Especially since it was your pick.
yeah, I thought the previews were good.
Yeah.
But when I finish a movie I really enjoy, I just have a better time.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. We can get through the King here.
Still gotta do a podcast.
Came out in 2019. Written and directed by David Michôd, I don't know, and also written by Joel Edgerton. So he wrote this movie.
Oh,
yeah,
good for
with
him.
the guy. They've written another movie together called The Rover, which I saw a while
I
back.
do like that guy, Joel.
I like him a lot. And the plot of this movie, it's a historical movie. It's like this is actual history.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like it's about Hal, who is the son of King Henry IV, who when he dies reluctantly becomes King Henry V, and it's just about him learning to be king and kind of
doesn't want to be king.
Doesn't want to be king, hates his father, but he's got to pick up the pieces of his father's misdoings or like wars that he's waged.
There was an open rebellion when his father was on throne.
Yeah, when he was the throne, who's kind of like billed to be a tyrant, like, but he was also in history. King Henry IV was exiled, and he came back and took the throne kind of by force. Like he, I think the word is like usurped the throne.
Some baller ass shit.
Yeah. So I forget exactly how it happened, but it's just about King Henry V and his life after he becomes king, leading up to and like culminating with the Battle of Agincourt, which is like what his biggest military success was that battle, which was a great battle. And just to give context, they were outnumbered by the French by thousands.
Yeah, it's like 8-1.
They lost 400 men in that fight. They killed over 6,000 Frenchmen. I mean, it's like it was a feat. The more I read about this battle was like, man, they did something. Yeah, the strategy that they used was
Battle of the Bastard shit.
It kind of reminded me of that because of how close. Yeah. But anyway, King Henry V, Hal is played by Timothée Chalamet. His go-to guy is played by Joel Edgerton. Falstaff. William is he's like the only thing I can equate the character to is or that position is like
King Arthur.
consigliere. Yeah. You're like lawyer basically for the king.
The consigliere.
That's the only thing that's the only word I can think of right now. But he's like
mediator
played by Sean Harris, who was King Arthur, and you just said that, yeah. King Henry. Wait, you said that. Sorry.
People look alike.
Sorry. I'm just mad at you guys right now. King Henry IV is played by Ben Mendelsohn, who I really like as an actor. He was in Rogue One. He's one of the characters in that. He's one of the bad guys in Rogue One. He's been in a bunch of movies.
I didn't recognize him.
Oh, yeah, he's been in a bunch. He was in that show Bloodline on Netflix. He's like the wayward brother. And he's been in so many movies. Killing Him Softly with Brad Pitt. He was in that. Philippa, King Henry V's sister, played by Thomasin McKenzie. Small part, but I only brought it up because she was from Jojo Rabbit. She was the girl in the closet.
Yeah.
And then Robert Pattinson also has not a big role, but kind of an important role.
Though.
Yeah, he was
I like
really.
this character.
Yep. I heard a funny story that one set he's standing around in all this armor and all these just medieval guard vaping in a freaking suit of armor.
Hope he didn't have a Starbucks coffee cup.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I also saw there was an error that in the first fight where Hal challenges the leader of the other rebellious army. There's if you pay super close attention, you can see they have rubber-soled shoes on. I didn't notice it, but I read it after the fact.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler, they wear Nikes.
They rockin' J's.
Yeah.
Nike's been around for 800 years.
Yeah, and so we got a quick correction because we build this movie. We're it's like the sequel to Braveheart. It's not. We got confused. There are two movies on Netflix.
Not the movie I was referencing.
We were talking. So Outlaw King is another one.
That's when I thought it was.
Whatever.
I text Ben on the side and I was like, "This is a prequel to a sequel."
Yeah.
He's I got to do some research.
I did. So technically, it's set after Braveheart. So quote unquote, right? It could be. So Braveheart was set late 13th century, which is. So the bad guy, King Edward I in Braveheart.
1456.
That's 1272 to 1307 is when
this
that
is
guy
1456.
This is 14. King Henry V was 1413 to 1422. That's when he was king.
Oh.
So it's early 15th century.
Okay, no.
That's
You're
I mean
right,
that's
you're
what
right.
I read on.
I thought I saw it on like on the screen. It doesn't matter.
This I read this on
Yeah.
like History of England's like their
I got
monarchs and shit.
Yeah, I probably read it wrong. Might have been 1406.
And then so Outlaw King is somewhere in there as well.
Yeah.
But this is there's
Outlaw
still
King I thought took place right after they killed William.
right. So it's like Braveheart's 1307 is when King Edward dies. He's on his way to fight, I think, Robert the Bruce when he dies. And then those movies take place, and I think this is like the end of that. After 100 years have gone by now. It was called like the 100-Year War or something back then. England and France were like,
People did not like England.
I guess
They basically ran the world, right?
The world that we knew.
I mean,
They had America for a while.
yeah.
Nerds.
King Henry V almost completely conquered
The whole world.
France.
Oh yeah, that would have been a big one. France was a huge rivalry.
Yeah, the Mad King, right? That's who that's what he like. The Crazy King or something is what the King of France was. What they called him at the time.
Were there samurais then? Weren't they doing their thing?
That was.
I'm just saying, weren't they?
It's a small island.
Wasn't there other like a whole other world doing their thing during that time?
Nobody was messing with them, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Except maybe the Mongols.
I was
or
gonna say,
something,
wasn't there a whole other group of people that would have just slid up in there?
Yeah.
Not see if there were rubber soles.
Man, I need to try what you're eating over there.
If there were rubber
I've been
soles-
looking at that since you got here.
Ooh,
Sit
dark-
back here, and you know I'm a fat boy. And I
Yeah,
love
dark chocolate.
You know what he does? He bring the popcorn in. Don't say nothing about what we're eating.
Slid it in there.
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
you can only get these in like specialty shops. Hammond's candy bars. I absolutely love them.
Shit is good.
It's so good, right?
So good.
No
wonder you didn't share.
You can have another piece if you want.
No, okay.
They sell them at EC Pops as well. So when I go get the popcorn,
Now I want to go.
the popcorn's free. I still buy stuff when I go there.
It's not free.
Right. These are like $4 candy bars, but it's worth it, man. I think they're so
That's
good. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, what'd you guys think of the movie?
I really like it.
Do you want a piece?
I didn't like it.
The candy?
The movie.
The movie.
He didn't try it.
I mean, the movie was okay. I didn't hate it. I thought there were real life situations and like even real plot points that apply to today. Like you mentioned, he didn't want to be king, right?
Yeah.
And he hated his father because his father got him into a bunch of senseless wars. Then you later find out that when he becomes king, he gets the country into a senseless war. He thinks he's doing the right thing, and that's
You're gonna
a
give it all
point.
away right here.
Yeah.
Whatever, but that's a point. I'm not going to say the end, but that's a point to focus on, especially with relating it to today's society, where you can look at someone and say, they think they're doing the right thing when they make the decision to do what they're doing, regardless of whether the decision's easy or not. Right? Even Hitler thought he was doing the right thing. So whether it's the right thing or it's not the right thing, in your brain through this movie, you get to see someone who tries his whole life to not be his father and then ends up being his father.
I
wouldn't say he becomes his father. His father was more of a tyrant and like a non-beloved.
chose violence.
Yeah.
But still,
First.
choosing it and doing it are different. It doesn't matter.
Well,
At the end of the
I
day,
don't know.
he still executed 6,000 people on a battlefield for no,
No.
reason.
That's not them fighting in battle is not executing. That's not executing someone is what he did early on.
I'm sorry. He killed 6,000 people on a battlefield for no reason.
I can't agree with that.
Yeah, I can't either. That in a war,
Okay,
they're already
wait a
in
minute,
war.
wait a minute. Okay, so here's what else. Here's what
France
else.
did nothing wrong.
Here's what I said. Okay, you only know that because of the way the movie ends.
Right.
Here's what I'll say about any war, current war that we get in now. The person who decides in America that we go to war is the president. He gets his information from other sources. Any president that has gone to war does not go to another country and go, hey, did you send that bomb? Did you do this? Was it you directly? They don't fucking go there.
Did you catch
Wait
my
a minute,
point?
wait a minute.
Did you catch my point of
No.
relating it directly to how society works today?
I'm not. That's fine, but you can't say that him and the other king are relative. The other king chose violence.
Outcome is still the
didn't
same,
need
is
to
what I'm saying.
That's not. But you said that they're the same. They're not the same king.
Outcome's the same.
The outcome, but one is skewed and one is not in this scenario. Right. How they end up is insignificant. I think
disagree.
I think that
I disagree.
he's a much better king for it, especially after the fact.
Tried to be a better.
And that's what intrigues me most about this
he
movie.
tried to be a
is
better
that-
person. He was a better person than his father.
He immediately.
But he accomplished what his father had been trying to do the whole time.
He immediately serves justice where it deserves to be served.
He's
the
also-
best way that he can.
No doubt. I'm not saying he's not as good of a person. The outcome is still the same.
Okay, I mean, but that's not his fault though. You can't blame him when he.
I didn't blame
when
him.
he came into.
I'm just saying he's the
Kinda
same
said he was the
person.
same. No, he's not the same.
It's the
person.
same situation.
He's not the same kid.
He inherited that. He
He's not the
inherited
same
that. He
kid.
inherited that situation.
He spent his whole life trying not to be his father, and then ended up being his father.
Not even
Is what
close.
I'm saying.
Not even close.
I don't agree with that at all.
Not even close.
I don't agree with that at all. His
Not
father,
even close.
his father took the throne by force. He never wanted it. He had to take it because his father died and his brother died. He had to do it.
And on top of that, he didn't want to go to war. He thought that they were going to attack him, so he
went
was
to
proactive.
war.
Because of what?
He lies.
Because right, his dad chose to go to war because his dad wanted to go to
Choosing
war.
to go to war and not choosing to go to war doesn't matter if you go to war.
No, yes, of course it does. If you think somebody is going to go to war with you, you need to defend your country.
Right.
If you choose to go to war regardless of defending your country, whether you think you're going to get attacked or not, is completely fucking different. How do you not see the difference?
The perception of the person, like I said, the person is different, but the results are the same. All the people that die in war in both of those situations.
Yeah, except for the one time a person is willing to defend a country that's being attacked versus another group of people that are attacking for no reason at all.
Well, in
How
both
are
these
those relative?
scenarios, you're attacking for no reason.
You only know that because he was fucking lied to. That's all I'm saying. It's not the same thing.
Right, so how do you know that his father wasn't lied to?
Because his dad was a tyrant. He was the aggressor. They make that obvious about him.
Okay.
They make it very clear.
Yes.
I'm
They
just
admit-
saying,
they
you
show
guys are
that.
building perceptions based on nothing.
I'm not building a perception.
I read history about this today.
Oh.
Right, and history books are always accurate, so that's a good call. They were there, they probably knew.
Okay.
We will agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah.
If that's the reason you don't like it, that's fair. And I acknowledge that.
That's the thing I liked about the movie.
What?
I'm confused.
Tying actual issues from then and how they could apply now. People making decisions off of hearing things that they don't understand or things that they think are relative. Like today's society. People make judgments on other people based on nothing more than something somebody else said. And that's exactly what happened in this movie. He was coerced into going into war, and regardless of why he went to war, he still murdered a whole fucking country of people.
He didn't murder an entire. When armies fight, it's not murder, man. It's a different thing. He personally didn't murder 6,000 people. 1 and 2. Yeah.
Alright, so Hitler didn't kill 6 billion Jews then.
Oh my god.
If that's the case, you would never even
But you
need.
get
would
what I'm
never.
saying?
No. If
No,
that's the
it
case, you would
doesn't-
never even need an army.
Yeah. What?
You would never need an army.
He was
Guys are
told.
missing what I'm trying to say.
I think I am. I'm gonna just.
You're getting tied up on the word murder.
Well, that's just a part of it. Like
The reason the people are dead is a direct result of his orders.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Is that,
yeah.
Is that easy enough to say?
Sure.
That's the best way you could have said.
I will agree with that.
It sounds like murder.
But the reason that they both end up in that spot is different.
I understand. I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying they still ended up in that spot.
Sure.
Is all I'm saying.
And that every leader ever will always end up in the same spot, but there'll be some that are loved and some that are hated. And this one should be loved because he was going. He was moving. He was moving in that direction because of pure guidance from somebody else, versus the previous king who was moving in that direction because of pure
They're different
anger
people.
and
I
bliss.
agree.
Well,
My
then you
only
compared
point-
them to each other earlier.
Right. The outcome is the same. Is all
It's
I'm
not
saying.
the same outcome.
It is
though.
for France. It is for France.
Sure for France. Sure for France. But if France knew how they both ended up there, I guarantee their perspective could be skewed a little bit.
France was going to murder all of them. They were going to murder all of them.
But England was the antagonist in that.
So they're both looking at each other like they're the antagonist. They don't know. There's no communication. They're being told, "Hey, this guy's advancing on you," and he's being told, "Hey, they're coming for you."
And on
So
top-
they're both being
on top
told.
of that, he literally did go. He went to your boy Pattinson and said, instead of us spewing this bloodshed,
Yeah.
how about you and I settle it on the battlefield?
Right. And if you outnumber the army 6,000...
He was outnumbered by a fucking ton.
Yeah. No, the numbers that I gave, that was just.
You have to say a point here. You're just going to yell every time I start talking.
I know. I'm not trying to yell. I'm trying.
Just in that situation, if I was Robert Pattinson, I would never have fought him. Ever. Not because I'm scared to fight him, but because you're only asking because you know we have the advantage.
If he was worried about the advantage, he could have surrendered right there.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from Robert Pattinson's perspective, There's no reason for him to fight right there.
Robert Pattinson didn't surrender, even if he was, or didn't agree to that, even if it was out. The roles were reversed.
But he did.
If he had 6,000 men and Pattinson had 800, he would not have accepted that offer because did you hear him when he came to the?
You're saying
camp?
a different thing than I'm saying. I don't care the character. Anybody in that position, there's no reason to fight. If you have the guaranteed victory or perceived guaranteed victory because it's one of the greatest upsets in history, then you don't do that, right? Because if you lose, you're basically giving up your country when you had it in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, when he was losing, Robert Pattinson lost the battle. He did agree to say, "All right, me versus you," and that's what happened.
They laid $1 short.
Right, I get it, but I'm just saying I don't think there's a reason for Robert Pattinson to fight right there.
Okay.
If it's evenly matched, I say do it all day.
No matter what, he still saves a couple people that died.
Mm-hmm.
Could have did that.
Yeah.
If he was so noble.
Yeah. Yeah, but he wasn't. He was clearly not.
Yeah.
He was.
He made that clear in the first meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said he was going to cut him out and bleed him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that
cut
was
his balls off.
That was graphic.
Yeah.
The way he described all that stuff was like.
That's my
Jesus.
favorite scene in the whole movie.
Their first meeting. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
You see, we disagree on this one.
This not even the movie. It's just the perspective of outcome. I don't think virtue of the person matters when the outcome of what they did is the same.
So if you're him, then right, and your advisors are telling you they're insulting you and they're going to come and kill you.
More than that.
I'm simplifying.
You find out. You are the let's just say in current time. If you're
I like where he was going.
Go ahead.
No, so you're King Henry V, the kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your advisors are telling you exactly what they told him in the movie.
Right.
Right? What do you do if you're him?
Same thing. Same thing he does. My point is that it's easy now to look at someone in society and judge them as a bad person based on their actions when you don't understand why they made them. And I think that's how that's relevant to today's society. That's the point I was trying to make. Not that he's a bad person. He's not a bad person. But at the end of the day, he did something he shouldn't have done. And even though it was justified to him and he was tricked and it isn't his fault, the things he did still happened.
I'm gonna have to read.
You're saying
he swore you said he was just as bad as his dad.
No, at the outcome is. At the end of the day, he did all the things he said he didn't want to do that his dad was doing.
Yes.
That's what I was saying.
Yes.
He's dead. I'm not going to war.
I agree
it's
with
a
that.
different person. I'm not
He
my
did.
father. And then he got some bad advice and became his father. Not his father, but he did the same things he said he wasn't going to do.
I also don't think he would have, but I don't think his father would have been like 1v1 me, bro.
But
like,
the military thing, we're talking too much on the character, not the character. The military thing's relevant today because you don't know why people are making the decisions they make at the top. You see it, you hear rumors, you speculate, and you guess, and you say it's wrong after the fact. But that's just hindsight. Who knows the information people at the top are getting and why?
Well, I mean, yeah.
This is another one you should watch.
That's all I'm trying to say. I watched the whole thing and I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool message because it still applies today. People are making decisions based on lack of information.
Yeah, I mean, they said there was oil in Iraq. You know?
That's what I'm saying. No, nuclear missiles. There's definitely oil in
WMD.
Iraq.
I meant WMD. Sorry, I meant WMDs. Not oil.
That was
definitely fucking oil in Iraq. Yeah, I meant WMDs.
Yeah, I think he was a great king. Or wanted to be. I think he tried to be as virtuous as he can. And like you said, he righted it as soon as he could. He didn't write it, but he killed the dude that messed with him.
He did write it.
Well,
it was the only
not
way
to the French, but yes.
But I mean, you can't. That's as right as he could make.
Right, I get it. He wanted to. He knew he was wrong for doing what he did.
If he would have outed that, it would have changed the entire outcome of that entire society.
Well, and those wars were being waged for decades.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him at all.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Who is influencing you to make decisions is also very important.
That's just how
regular life.
Well, true, but back then. I mean, anything you watch back, like set in those times. I mean, the deception.
Shit, back when my parents were alive, how did they?
What do you mean back then?
All they had
were current now.
No, but I'm saying like anything they portray like in medieval times, like they really harp on like how treacherous people were, and not saying that it's not
It
like
is
that
no
today.
different now.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I guess maybe it's just
Watch
people can fact check their own stuff now, but even like I said, with our parents, when they were younger. They had to read a newspaper, and whatever they read is what they had to believe. There were no source checking that.
That was like
wild.
that movie that Tom Hanks is in, where he walks around and reads the newspaper to everybody.
all the people in Russia think America's responsible for Chernobyl.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they still say that only 3 people died.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They have only on the books have 3 deaths from the explosion.
It just spotlight. This movie just spotlights the consequences of misinformation. I guess.
Jimmy Kimmel said that started a rumor that there was wild wolves at the Olympics the weekend in Russia, which is totally made up. So favorite part?
No, we've kind of gotten like I don't even know
part of
where
it.
the hell we are.
We want to go into favorite part. These favorite
Yeah,
part,
so
favorite line?
we haven't technically spoiled anything yet.
No.
Like, so I mean, there's the general
Maybe.
thoughts, right? Chris didn't like it. John and I liked it. I thought it started a little slow, but it just kind of built up. I thought the character development was important to learn about King Henry. I thought
said in the text.
Yep, 100%. We agree there. I thought the acting was great all around. I thought they all gave great performances, and I thought this was another like kind of beautifully shot movie. But you know, up in wherever they film them, I thought it was great. Might have been New Zealand. I don't know.
So what I will just to agree with what you're saying here,
Yep.
and with watching this before the Green Knight, they kind of have a similar like disgruntled
The
tomfoolery kind of character.
The young kids.
Yes, they're out, they're drinking, they're having sex, but they're also very important. And,
Royalty.
the royalty, of course. And I was like, okay, this has kind of got like a similar start. We're gonna get into
I thought the same
to
thing.
you being this, and then your character dynamics going to change. And right. Which I guess does happen in Green Knight. You don't know, but in this one, this one is very direct. I mean, the whole story makes perfect sense for me. How he goes from where he was to, I mean, I just think it's very well written. I think the movie was good. And again, I have bad ADHD, so I don't follow long movies, but it's like, I wanted to know, there was a couple scenes where you're like, they could have cut this, to shorten it a little bit from 220 to, a little bit less, but, I thought all of it was good build for each character, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And again, I told you I like military war movies and stuff like that. And even if they're,
Yeah. Well, so the part that I described that we were arguing about was what I liked about the movie.
Well, the argument, I love the argument. I love argument when it comes to stuff like this.
Well, yeah,
I love
I think it was
same
just
reason I told you
either
you don't have to defend the last movie.
I wasn't explaining what I was trying to say right, or you weren't understanding what I was trying to say initially.
I think I just misheard
My
you
whole
at the beginning.
point was
Because
that
you
the
compared him to
outcome
the other
was
king. Yes. Yeah.
Was the same.
Yeah, it was the same.
Yeah. That's the name. I just getting prepped. Yeah. So
So
we can spoiler now, guys. We're gonna go spoilers.
Santana.
We can just try to jump through some of these likes, dislikes,
Yeah.
like spoilery thing. Oh my god.
You saw it?
No, but it's still there. The notification's
Just
still
lower.
there. It's gone. Okay. Oh god. Likes. Go ahead, John. You go first. I'm trying to let me think.
So my favorite part, I'll just go right to my favorite part,
cool,
is
cool.
when the king meets Robert Pattinson's character the first time. And they're in there, and he's sitting there talking about how I'll cut you and bleed you in front of your family, and even the conversation with you right now, the idea of you killing me bores me, and then in the background, his main man, Falstaff, is like,
Oh yeah, that
and
was
he just
great,
leans back,
dude.
he leans back and he
Yeah.
yawns, and then and I mean, it just what the hell is his name? Pattinson's character.
The dolphin.
The dolphin.
The dolphin.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it just humbles him right away. He's like,
Oh.
he's like, wait a minute. I'm sitting here talking shit. That scene is so good to me because he literally shuts him up. And I mean, I don't. You can just tell right there that those two. That's his boy. That's his dog. I mean, it did take him a minute to come get him or whatever. But even that conversation that he has, I don't know. I love this whole movie. The conversation that he has when he comes and gets him from the little bar or whatever, like.
That's his boy.
When he's like, this is the first time I've had a moment other than working to the kingdom,
Right.
and it should speak measures that I'm spending it to come down here and apologize to you.
Yes.
Is like, I don't know.
He's got to understand. Like, I just became king. I got a lot to do.
It's like opposite of Green Knight. I feel like every scene in this movie makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they may be
And
small,
ties together.
but they build. Like they build a character or they build a storyline, even if it's something stupid. Like every part of it makes sense to the outcome of the movie.
a lot of stuff that can still apply to today's society.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
yeah, oh, yeah.
You see your boy become king,
Yeah.
you're just chilling, you're envious of him.
Yeah,
Like,
you could take the
like,
detail.
how come you aren't looking out for
You
me?
can take the physical details out of it, or like the timeline, and move it to a current timeline, and it would be just as relevant. The whole storyline could be, the dialect, the conversations would be different, but it could be the same, the same story, but just different details.
Yep.
I guess.
My favorite scene is when the little brother is announced that he's going to be the king, the successor, and he goes to a battle where he's projected to win, but his older brother shows up and says, "I'm just going to fight their leader. We're going to one-on-one, so none of these people have to die." He fights, and it's a gruesome fight, and it's tough, and he winds up killing him. And the little brother's just pissed off. Like, this was my victory. You stole it from me. And it's like you could just see the immaturity in him of not understanding that the older brother just got told he wasn't going to be king, not that he wanted to in the first place, and still came down there to fight against another person to save his little brother and everyone else's lives.
Right.
And the little brother was just so ungrateful of it that he ended up, spoiler alert, fighting and dying in that battle. That's why the older brother became king.
Yeah. I liked a lot of parts, man. There was a lot, the speech before the big battle, like the speech that he gives, I thought that was really good. But I guess I'll say my favorite line is when he first becomes king, and he's talking to his confidant, the guy William, and they're talking about like the rebellions and then like France and what's going on, and they keep like, I think the word problems is mentioned a few times, and the line is right after he says, "But listen, like problems, and like in my experience, problems
This is such a good one.
that are left unattended have a habit of becoming crises." And I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah.
That's a very good line.
Yeah, so it was that one, and I had another one. Did you guys write down lines or anything too? Yeah.
No.
Okay, John, go.
So one of my favorite ones is later in that exact scene when William's talking to the king, and he says, "Promises must be fulfilled. Promise cannot be in itself an end."
Hell yeah, that's a great one
I
too,
was like,
man.
ooh,
Empty promises.
okay.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And then there's there's one more, and it's long, so I screenshotted it actually.
Falstaff. Yeah, go ahead.
It's long, but it's very, very good, and it's just basically about Falstaff, his homeboy, the king's homeboy, who's basically like he keeps his mouth shut. He says something to him before they go into war. He's like, "I brought you here. What do you Before he says something to him about his knee being so the next day, where he actually Falstaff is the reason that if it's based off a true story, he is the one who says that we should lighten the armor and that we should go out there. We'll send a group of troops up first, and basically like 300, we'll let them come to us, and then we'll bring lighter troops in from the side."
Yeah.
And he says, after the king addresses him and says, "I brought you here. The reason you're here is you're supposed to be guiding, supposed to direct me." And he says, "I speak only when there's something to be said. Too often have I seen men of war and men work for themselves. Work that leads to nothing but vainglory and slaughtered men. I'm not that man." And then the king says something back to him, and he says, what does he say? "I'll disembowel you right here." And he
With
goes,
mine own hand.
and he says, "You're not that man."
Yeah.
Right around him. I was like, oh my God. And this is the king. This is his boy now. But that scene is extremely influential in the whole rest of the movie, because it humbles the king for a moment, because he really isn't the guy that he wants to be there.
He was emotional.
Yeah.
And I think the tone was more like, "Listen, that's not you."
Yeah. I've been there, done that. And here's what I'm telling you. Listen, you've listened to me thus far. You know what I mean? Just take my guidance right here. I know your character trait. I know your personality. You're not the guy that's going to go out there and do what I have to do tomorrow. Yep. Even though when he dresses, the king does come to him and he's like, "That's very humble." But I love this movie. I don't know. I really like this movie a lot.
It was a lot to it.
No lines?
It wasn't a line, but I guess it kind of was. When it was like his indoctrination day and people were sending gifts, which is relevant to the story. But France sends him a little ball, and it's meant to be an insult.
Or do they?
But he took it.
Right.
But he took it and he threw it up against the wall, and he made a speech about how it was a nice gesture, not an insult. And I really liked it because it set the tone for how mature he was trying to be. How he really was trying to be a different type of king. Yeah. He said, "Oh, it's just a gesture of my playful nature from back when I was a child. Be sure to send a thank you."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "You should be pissed." He's like, "I'm not going to be mad just because you want me to be mad."
Right.
Turns out
it was all a ploy, man. It was just kind of crazy.
The scene where the one major general says, "Thus is war," it's soulless and heartless or something like that. And then he looks right back at him and said, war is soulless and heartless. And he gets right into, the movie is goddamn good.
There's a lot of great lines. Falstaff has another one where I think it was when he first goes to get him out of like the brothel or whatever it was. He's like, "You're supposed to be my friend," or something he said something about friends, and Falstaff says to him, "Kings don't have friends; they have followers and foe."
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
Kings have no friends, only followers and foes.
Yeah,
I had to write it down.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And that's when he follows up with the fact that that he had no time, and the fact that I'm here should speak measures.
Yeah. Would you have changed anything?
I thought it was slow.
Okay.
Honestly, I would have injected a little bit of humor, just a tiny bit somewhere. Maybe a character that was funny or something.
The Falstaff could have been that, I think.
It's just a little bit.
I'm kind of like you, John. We were texting about it. I wanted more. Like, I wish it was 3-4 hours. Yeah. Maybe a miniseries. Break it up 4 1-hour pieces. Like, I
just 4 1-hour pieces I could see probably.
That's what I was like. That could be a total miniseries. I mean, it totally has the potential to like give me more history.
Develop the character a little bit.
Or that more, just
king.
Everything. Yeah.
I want to know the king's backstory.
Oh yeah.
Give me the he's only sharing his
I didn't want to eat the whole thing.
Give me the grand discovery at the end, half an hour prior. Give me a little bit more of
shorter movie.
No. Just no, not necessarily. If there isn't another one of these, I'll be mad, or something to follow this, I'll be upset. But give me him finding out about his advisor a little bit earlier, and what becomes of that, other than his new agreement with his new wife.
That's
you know what I mean?
Too,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love
Oh
yeah.
Stay up there.
And making him go back.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot in that. You know, there's a lot in this movie. Like, and this is not like, again, I'm just gonna connect the two. This isn't where I had to try to figure it out. Like, what's going on. I don't have to try to figure out why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. Like, this is again the beginning of the movie. I thought they were going to be relative, and then they weren't. But and it's maybe because I put this movie so much higher than The Green Knight.
I also watched this one second. I watched this one last night.
Oh yeah,
I didn't have time to do it. I didn't do it. I didn't have time to do it before I went to Fairfax. Just finish it.
You're no knight.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
As you lick your fingers.
That scene was
that's it, right? What do you got? You gonna score it? Let's do it. Let's score this. Let's score this puppy.
6-3.
I've been trying to figure out if I like which one I liked more, and I think it's
8.5.
Yeah,
I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, I'm 8.2.
I agree with all the points you guys made, but I would never watch this again.
I'll watch this again.
I will.
Now, you know what
I will watch this again.
I'd like to get like a frickin'. We do Blockbuster night. Like, I would like to get like maybe 3 or 4 of these that go in chronological order in history. Kind of like go Braveheart, Outlaw King, Robert the Bruce, like we talked about.
Can we start with Game of Thrones?
I don't think that's actual history, Chris. But if you want, let's watch 8 seasons.
Fine, we're not watching The Passion of Christ.
All right, well, that's it, guys. The scores are locked in.
Or The Green Knight.
Yeah, the scores are locked in for those movies. We're going to do a quick name their movies, because I feel like we're long.
I'm splitting them off tomorrow, that's what she said.
So the name is Kurt Russell. I don't remember who won the last one of these.
No, you did.
So I did. All right. So I'll go first. Dark blue.
We're going this
Kurt
way.
Russell.
This way.
Yep. Just go.
I will go.
Kurt Russell. I can't even picture his face.
Okay.
The Miracle.
No. Well, Miracle. I'll accept it. Miracle. The hockey movie, right? Okay.
Kurt Russell.
Oh, why I said
See him?
that's so stupid.
Is he the guy with the beard?
Does he? I'm sure he's had
like
beards.
the mustache, right? Drives a car real fast.
He's been
the
in
girl.
No, you're thinking Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
You are thinking Burt Reynolds.
Kurt Russell. Can I see a picture of his face? Is that allowed or not?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Hold on a second.
Give me a 20 second.
Let me Google
to be
him.
fair, can I just get a picture of his face?
Yeah.
Images.
Go to images.
I am. Chill.
You look.
Oh, okay. All right. Furious
Better X that out.
I am too, bro. I can only go so fast.
8.
Oh.
That's not what it's called.
Oh, damn, we gotta know what it's called.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I think he's in that. Stargate.
You fuck.
I'm like, how is John not saying Stargate right now?
My brain went through a bunch of other ones.
Tombstone.
Yep. Oh, man.
Am I next?
Yep.
The only new Fast and Furious movies. You'd be on fire.
Escape from LA?
Yes.
Yes, he was. Good call.
Yeah, good call. Escape from New York is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that one too.
Yes.
Snake Plissken.
Hateful Eight.
Mm-hmm. I'm leaving it.
Fast and Furious 8. I mean,
I
what
was
the fuck
leaving
is it called?
I was leaving it out there for
I
you.
gotta name that whole thing?
Yeah,
Fast
full
and
title.
Furious
Full
8.
title.
Fast and Furious 8.
Nope. Honda Civic.
Family Matters.
Yeah.
Paul Walker's dead.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right, give me a second. Hold on. Wait.
It took me the whole episode to get through.
Can't be that good.
No, I enjoyed it. I guess I was sipping. I was talking a lot.
You cussed way more than that beer.
Well, I got a whole nother
What's
one.
funny because you had to defend yourself on Green Knight. I had to defend myself on the King.
Damn, I'm ripping this.
He's young in a movie.
He's
I know it.
Brian
He has
in
been
a lot.
young in a movie,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's been young in a lot
Good
of
call.
movies.
All right. How many seconds do you get?
10.
Kurt Russell. I don't have him. And I'm gonna look and I'm gonna be so mad. Tombstone 2?
Nah, it's not a movie.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
The Fate of the Furious is what it's called.
Yeah.
You're a bitch.
Fast 8, Fate.
I'm gonna be so mad because I love old movies.
He's in a lot of old
Yeah, I
movies.
know. Thank you. Dad.
I know, man.
Which one did he come in on? Like 7?
I don't
There's
remember.
a lot of them.
It might be. Don't remember though.
I don't think he was in Fast 9 at all, right? He was dead. He had a cameo though, right?
I
He
don't
was on a
remember.
video.
I don't remember.
Oh my
He
god.
was.
I'll take it if you want to.
No, I got plenty more. Let's
Okay.
do Big Trouble Little China.
Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China, but I'll
Yeah,
take
perfect.
it. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
That's it.
Right? That's what it's called, right? Guardians
Yeah.
Volume 2? Yeah.
Oh, so you gotta do it. Okay.
Overboard.
Oh man, what a great movie! Did you watch the shitty remake?
I started it, but
What-
it was on when I went to my mom's house.
Okay,
She's my new roommate.
right. Breakdown.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
John can be our live fact.
Shut up.
John can be our live fact checker.
I'm here. It's actually, I really don't know most of these. This one, the one I should fucking know.
Let's do
I've seen
Fast and
it a
Furious.
dozen times.
That's the fourth one. He's not in that.
That's the fourth one? I thought that was the sixth one.
No.
Fuck, how many of these movies are there? Jesus.
10.
There's 10?
There's gonna be one more, unfortunately.
Is 10 the last one?
9 is the most recent.
Alright. Fast 9. I'm doing it.
Is that what it's called?
Wait a minute.
Is it called Fast 9?
I fucking said F9 or Fast 9 first.
No, you
And
said
you
eight.
said
You said 8. You said Fast and Furious 8.
Oh.
Is Fast 9 what it's called? John? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mad at that I got it right now?
Furious 7. Is he in that?
Do you know what it's called?
It's called Furious 7.
Fucking hey, these movie titles are just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's called what?
Furious 7? Right? Okay. Go, Chris.
Go, Chris.
The old movie that I should know is the one I'm mad about the most. I'm such an old man. Sorry. That's hints. Those are hints. I'm sorry. He's not going to get it based off
Bastard.
that, but it's the one I should know. You should just let me be the hint guy because I always lose at these.
God damn it.
It's not going to help you.
Yeah, don't bring God into this.
There is no God.
Are you hinting right now? Or is that what
No,
you're
no,
doing?
no.
Okay.
Oh, no. Did you see that new movie that's like based off Soul series?
No.
Hey.
Don Shields.
The
It's
one-
one of my favorites.
the
How
All
am I supposed to think with this shit going on?
right, 10 seconds.
Yep. 10, 9,
8,
No, don't count. You gotta do the fingers. Count.
6.
Machete.
You remember the one where he was a super soldier?
Universal Soldier.
It's just called Soldier.
Soldier. Okay, but
Such a good movie.
What's the movie
Death
where the
Proof?
girl's got the machine gun leg? Is that Death
that's
Proof?
Planet Terror.
That's what I was trying to
He's
think.
not in that. He's in Death Proof.
Death Proof's the same movie though, right?
No,
It's
The
three
movie that
miniseries.
I wish I remember
It's
is
three
fucking
miniseries, right?
it's 2 movies. Planet Terror is a movie. Death Proof is a movie. Death Proof is the one he's in.
Didn't they
remember
premiere in the
Backdraft.
same? In the same.
I love
night?
Backdraft.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie 20
It was
times.
premiered as Grindhouse. You would have had to call it Grindhouse.
All I ever see
The
of
double-
is
yeah.
that age.
Death Proof.
I need to watch new movies.
Yeah, yeah.
New movies are like new rap.
Dude,
music.
Kurt Russell is like low key the goat, man. I
No,
really,
his movies are not that great, but
really, I
if
love
you
a
look
lot
at
of
this-
his
if you look at
movies.
this filmography on here, they're not that great.
Oh, Executive Decision.
Yeah,
that
that's
one
a
was-
decent movie.
Yeah, it's decent. F9.
Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy 2?
it's called F9: The Fast Saga. So you got that wrong, and we reviewed that shit. So we should have known
Well,
the title of that.
so the only reason I said it was right is because when you look it up, it just says F9 on my.
Oh, okay.
Look.
Bone
you leave
Tomahawk.
it
Have you guys seen Bone Tomahawk?
Did you leave me? Did I leave you there?
Whoo!
Sky High. Darn it.
Deepwater Horizon. I like his movies, man. Soldier.
I didn't know he was in.
Soldier was good.
He was the voice.
Oh, 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Yep.
Did you guys both say the Guardian of the Galaxies?
I
We
said the
skipping
first one.
shots.
Oh, we can. Yep. Just next week, guys. We got next week. We're gonna do Reminiscent. The new Hugh Jackman movie
Yes.
comes
I'm
out on
excited about that.
comes out on HBO today as you're watching this.
Looks like a knockoff of an Inception.
Yep. And we should have a guest next week. And we're gonna draft another Ultimate Blockbuster Night. So thank you for watching.
And?
We appreciate you. If you're still here, thank you for watching.
Isn't there a thing about it?
That'll be next week.
There may be gifts coming.
Yeah, we got a contest.
Real talk
contest
for real
coming up.
movies, yeah, we'll listen. Real life for real hype, you feel different. Underrated, appreciated, or barely made it. You let us know at Law Bay, yeah, you really hate it. And Christmas like in the past, he got it going better. And like Jess, it didn't show up, and we don't let up. It's real talk, no theoretical, though it ain't invisible, man. It's so dependable, damn. You can't see him if it's dark or bright. Ask Chris with his Miller Lite. Or Blockbuster is so good, right? Candyman or Tony Dodd or Holy God. I mean the devil all the time, we're released alive. Apocalypto, go against the grain like your boy Adam, who drink Jack like Jungle Land and Nick Mullins. Educators, tell us what you know about him. Is it bad or good like Peanut Butter Falcon? Special guests like Danny D and Dave Arnold. Let us look to the future, event horizon. In real life, the movie will never stop. Till it does, we drop, and there's no getting up. Until then, subscribe and they let you know the tops. Only way to know for sure is to watch. So shut up and drink your pops, your soda and corn pops, and listen to the real life movie talk. I'm isolated like the lady in black, and I seek revenge for these movies that whack.
Oh, you're terrible. Have we started?
Yeah, we started. I'm not terrible.
You're terrible.
I'm fucking moral support. I'm about to do a whole workout program for this podcast.
What?
I think you're doing it for you.
Nah, pass. I love myself. Never been happier.
You should do the
Are these-
entire workout program.
Oh shit.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's nice shoes.
Are these? Is this? Am I supposed to put these on?
Like I
Are these my movie review shoes?
went to step in and I was like, what the f?
You want my Crocs?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to wear your shoes.
You fucker.
Okay. Gather it. Come on.